Viewers, you've tapped in for another edition of Self-Care Sunday. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Tariq St. Sankofa, also known as Big Black Sugar Baby. I'm joined by my co-host and friends, none other than Nate the Great, Nate Sr., Lady Siren, Yogi John, Lottie D. Shay, and Edwina. Listen, Self-Care Sunday is a weekly reset live stream to help you get recalibrated in preparation for whatever madness Monday may bring. We do a little affirmation and intention setting, talk about what's going on this week in Black folks' business. We got a self-care pro tip with Lady Siren, guided meditation with Yogi John. We're gonna have some Sunday brunch. Got a mailbag, possibly some poetry, but definitely always positive vibes. If you haven't done it already, you need to click that like button, click that subscribe button, share the link with someone you know could use a quick vibrational tune-up. Tell them Self-Care Sunday is streaming and the mics are on.
Well, good morning, everybody, and happy Sunday. Today is Sunday, March 17th. It is 10:12 a.m. It is nice and sunny and warm, springish where I am. I hope that it is the same wherever you are. Welcome to another edition of Self-Care Sunday. This is a weekly reset live stream that we do to help you, the listeners and viewers, get yourselves recalibrated for Monday morning. Because we never know what the hell Monday is going to look like. So it is important that we, spend some time on the weekends just kind of trying to get ourselves together. So we like to do a little bit of affirmation and intention setting. Sometimes we do some guided meditation, although we'll be skipping that this morning. We talk about sometimes this week in Black folks' business. Nate, I don't know if Nate's going to pop in with us this morning to handle that or not. And then we have Sunday brunch, which is a discussion just about whatever experiences we've had throughout the week that have lended themselves to growth, introspection, anything and all things self-care. So we're going to actually skip some of the formalities this morning. This is going to be somewhat an abbreviated show. We're going to skip some of the formalities and get right into the business this morning. I hope that everybody has had a good week. You're going to see me periodically throughout the show wiping this eye repeatedly because my allergies are kicking my ass. Yesterday, I went out in the woods for a self-care walk, and it was a beautiful experience. But this eye just keeps watering and watering and watering. And I swear I have pollen coming out of this eye.
Oh, God.
Some fish burn.
Right?
I got fish burn in my eye. I don't know what's going on. But I rubbed and rubbed because it itched. And I just kept rubbing this joker. And then, towards the evening, it was swollen. And the skin was tight and it's still itchy. So you're going to see me constantly doing this here. And I got my good old ice pack here too, because that seems to help. I was going to wear my sunglasses this morning throughout the show because I feel like this eye looks gross. But as I'm looking into the screen, you can't really tell. Yeah. But
I'm having the same issue with my thing. I got the reflection going on.
Mm-hmm. What with your glasses?
Yeah.
The glare.
The glare? Yeah, I mean, you got on personality glasses, Negro. You don't really have to have those on. Like, it's not like you have to have them on. Whatever.
He working out. He working out.
I want to check in first.
I'll put the real ones on.
You said what?
You put the real ones.
Oh, the real ones on? Okay, see? No glare. And you look equally as smart, I want to do the regular check-ins or whatever, just to see how you all are doing. How was your week? We'll start ladies first. Edwina, we're not jumping to brunch yet, so just I'm just doing the normal greetings. But yeah, how are you feeling this morning?
I am feeling resilient. I'll say that. It's been one of those weeks that really try you, and there's a lot of difficult things to deal with. But I feel like there's so many things that I'm midway in
Hmm.
that it's like I've almost felt like I could not stop to
Hmm.
be sad, and it's made me feel almost cyborg like.
Hmm.
But it's just like I'm trying to understand resilience in this era of my life, like
Hmm.
getting back to things even when things knock you down because they constantly come. So I'm feeling very resilient. I'm feeling ready to, get back in the fight.
You know, hmm, I'm glad you said that.
Mm.
Um, I'm jumping over you, Scar, and
No, you good.
coming back to me. I think this week I realized that I feel dissociated.
Yeah.
I have felt outside of myself for the past month. Um, and it was a lot of things I've talked about over the last couple of weeks. A lot of things have contributed to it. That business with the IRS, and
Yeah.
then getting sick and having that sinus infection, which made me unable. I just didn't have the energy to do work,
Mm.
to focus on work, which put me behind, which in turn made
Exactly.
me feel a little, you know, not quite depressed, very much anxious, but a little low
Out of balance.
vibrational.
Hmm.
And then my uncle passed away, and like navigating how to feel about that because now I'm down to one remaining elder from that generation.
Yeah.
And that means that
Sorry.
the entire lineage that I mean not the entire lineage, but that entire generation is about to be gone in my family.
Yeah.
And I haven't quite known how to feel about that. I really haven't known how to feel about that.
Yeah.
And so it has lended itself to me just sort of feeling outside myself. And I've tried to like provide space to just feel the feelings. Yeah, it's okay. You don't have to put any pressure on yourself. You don't have to be any better than what you are. You don't have to do any work. You don't have to, just feel your feelings.
That's so hard though.
It is because you're trying to feel your feelings at the same time that you're feeling guilty about the things that you're not getting done. And
Hmm.
then the guilt and the depression that wants to set in about, the things that you're not getting done. It's just this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
And so like I've decided in the last couple of days, like this week, I'm really gonna just kind of try to push to get back in this body
Yeah.
and take control because it feels almost like all these things happen and they push you out of the driver's seat and somebody
Mm.
else steps in and just like starts driving wherever the hell they want to go.
Yeah. For me, that has led to a lot of opting out of things that I used to feel obligated to show up for.
Hmm.
And there's so much guilt associated with that too. But yeah, I've been that way too. It's like I feel like my body cannot take another grieving process from the beginning. I've
Hmm.
had too many. And then
Hmm.
my uncle passed away 2 weeks ago, but I wasn't really close to him
Hmm.
on my mother's side of the family. So making myself show up and go through that process again was difficult to do for my siblings. And then my cousin passed away this past Tuesday. She would have turned, we were like twin cousins.
Hmm.
So her birthday was this Saturday, my birthday is next Saturday. And we were the same age. And I'm just like trying to show up and be the supportive person. It's like, all right, I've been through so many funerals. I should know exactly how we should handle this. And like for me right now, it's like I can't go that far back down into what happens after I show up for everybody else. And then I have to go into this place where I have to go get myself because nobody else gonna go get her when she lost in that dark space where you are after you're empty by showing up for everybody else.
Hmm.
So it's like I feel like a lot of things I have opted out of for my own mental and physical
Hmm.
health limitations. So that's reconciling that as well.
So much alignment here, right? Because
Yeah.
so this uncle passed, like we weren't terribly close. The one that's remaining, we are.
Oh,
But
okay.
this one, my mother, there were 7 siblings. And when
Mhm.
my grandparents split, one went to New Jersey, supposedly to look for work or, whatever. My grandfather stayed here. They kind of split the children in half. But I think they all kind of decided where they wanted to go. So some of them went to New York, New Jersey. Some of them stayed here in North Carolina. And so they're like my Uncle Buddy, his name is Melvin. I didn't meet him until my mother's funeral.
Mhm.
And when I met him, when I tell you we look like twins, and I just fell in love with that man. I was angry because I was like, where the is this man been? Like, why did y'all? But
Wow.
he's been in Las Vegas since he was 15 years old,
Yeah. Oh,
Mm.
wow.
you
Mhm.
know. And my Uncle Randy, who just passed away, we weren't close. And I think that in a way kind of like compounded the grief, because it's like we should have been, or at
Right.
least I feel like we should have been. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like you don't even know in that situation how to grieve
Right.
and how you're supposed to feel.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I did not make phone calls. I didn't go to the funeral.
Mhm.
One, I couldn't afford to. It just, the timing, it was in light of the whole IRS thing. It was just a bad time for me financially, and I just couldn't do it. But then also, it felt like going. Some of my family may see this and they might feel some kind of way, but they'll be okay. Um, it felt like almost like going to a funeral for a stranger,
Yes.
because
Oh
the
my God.
relationship was so distant. And I just don't like forcing myself to go. It's not that I don't love my uncle. It's not that I didn't care about his passing, but I just didn't see why I needed to force myself to engage in a grief process that I just didn't feel legitimately a part of, because what I'm grieving is the relationship that never was, by virtue of the circumstances that my grandparents created. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, like just listening to you talk, I
Yeah.
felt that, I felt that.
It's a lot. And you don't get to unpack it, or you get a small space where you feel like you have time to unpack stuff like that. And
Mhm.
that's when you're grieving from it. But then it's like, okay, now there's not only this, my uncle, but there's the children that he had. We've been in the same vicinity. And I have no recollection of this man other than the issues that my mother told me she had with him. So now there's all this, but then he has these beautiful daughters, and um, you know, I have one aunt that's left on my mom's side, but I'm like, we grew up in like foster care and stuff, and I've always had trouble reconciling that feeling. Like, y'all were all right here. Like, why didn't you guys take up a torch? So then when I got older, you get lost in your own responsibility. But that part of getting back together and trying to force a connection
Mhm.
only happened around funerals. And
Mhm.
then when we went back to regular, it's like, but now when they're leaving, it's like I don't really know you guys. And if once you I don't try to say, I call it the trauma Olympics, where you get so caught up in what's wrong that you never really get at a way to figure out what's right. But like after burying my daughter, it's like all of that, everything about it is like I don't feel like I'm existing on the same planet I lived on before. So how I go forward is really important to me, to make sure that I can survive how I show up for other people. You know
That
what I
is,
mean?
yeah. Another part of what you said, like, and this is, I know this happens in a lot of families, right? Um, Specifically Black families. That structure where we're all connected and we're involved in each other's lives on a consistent basis, a lot of times it's missing. And in my family, it definitely has been, to where the only times that you really get together is like it's a funeral,
Mhm.
somebody has died, maybe Thanksgiving. We might centralize at somebody's house, but I mean, even that, you got relatives who just show up, grab a plate, and hit it.
Yeah.
So
But
it's
you
like
get even
you
that
you
is FaceTime with some of them. You get
you
a tune in or a check in if you feel, that's what I'm saying. If you feel like in your hands is enough to share, then share it. But like you can't keep showing up with not enough in your hands. But so whoever shows up to these things, I know who is consistently trying and who just who opted out when I feel like I needed that FaceTime, whether it was
and
funerals or other things.
family needs to be, especially for us, open space, right? An inclusive space for everybody.
Yeah.
I know that the host is religious.
Hmm.
You know where I'm going with this, right?
Hmm.
But if this is family, do we all have to like subject ourselves to that oppressive whatever
Hmm.
energy? Because you like, and then this is where the isolation starts, because certain people feel like, I ain't going over there. We got to have
Yeah.
praise and worship and 3 prayer meetings before we get a plate, and then you got to sneak around the back of the house to drink a beer,
Yeah.
and it's like it's
Right.
Like, what are we
too
doing?
much.
Like we're all in a space where we're trying to throw out the old narrative of how we think we supposed to show up in this world. I
Yeah.
think that most of us, especially here, and that we associate with, it's like the framework. We see the errors in it. It's like you don't want to throw away the family, but the way that we associate with one another, and it's almost out of this arbitrage like obligation. And it's like you don't need to check in on anybody. It's like, no, you're supposed to. And she's supposed to, and he's supposed to. Now, it's all this bitterness and resentment, but where do you get to heal that and still throw out the process, the tradition of feeling like you're obligated to be who they think you are? Because
You
we don't want to be that anymore. I'm not her anymore. I really am not.
Well,
I
let
don't
me be
associate
me.
where,
Let me be me. Like you create barriers to actual family, and
yes,
then wonder
yes.
why we're so separated.
Yes, and if I'm trying to show up in my authentic form, I will go by the river, the lake, and grieve for my cousin and the memories that we shared with each other, and show up as I can in the process of supporting my other family members. But I cannot force myself to be who I used to be for you guys. And if you don't care enough about me to see how the things that I went through kind of changed that for me, and be like, we got to handle her a little bit with a little bit different care.
Half the time
And
they don't know what you went through,
Right. That
and
part.
that's been my struggle. I'm coming to you,
mm,
Scary. I know we're still gonna,
No,
I'm
you're good.
sorry.
You're good.
but that's been my struggle. I left home at 17 years old to go
Yeah.
to college. I
Mm,
never came back.
mm,
You know, my parents supported me for the first 3 years of college, and then there came a day when my stepfather had my mother deliver a message to me that he was no longer supporting me financially, which meant that
mm,
I had to get a full-time job. I never got an explanation for why or anything, just I'm not doing it. And
oh,
so
wow.
after my junior year, I had to work full-time, and I had to quit college, and I
Mm,
stayed out until I went back at 37. You know, but during
mhm,
those years, were there phone calls from family? No.
mhm,
Was there support from family when all I had in my refrigerator was a jug of water and an apple? No.
mhm,
So then you look at me like I'm crazy and don't understand why it's easy for me to just decide, okay, well, screw you. I don't like I can do without all of you and not ever communicate with you again because you haven't been a part of my life. We
right,
share, we share the same blood,
yeah,
but we have not shared any experience, and you definitely have not been a source of support for me. But I'm
mhm,
supposed to feel this sort of
yeah,
like undying affection towards you because you're my cousin. Girl, I don't give
mm,
a fuck about
right,
about that. I don't care about that. Have
but
you been a part of my life? Yeah.
right,
Go ahead.
yeah, yeah, but I was thinking about that too, and it's like, I don't even feel I'm trying to do that respectfully, you know what I mean? Because it's not malice. There's times I didn't show up or I couldn't show up either. There's no malice in me saying that I don't got it on me. I ain't got it on me right now. I don't have the emotional real estate
Hmm.
that you need from me right now. It may look like I'm, doing things or showing ways but no, Madame is. Last week I had to opt out of my grandson's birthday party because I literally couldn't get out the bed, and I felt bad. But nobody came over here to check on me, but somebody I barely even know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not mad, but respectfully, I got as much effort as I can spare
Hmm.
in order to still remain on my 2 feet right now. And I'm trying to reconcile that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And still be resilient enough to show up authentically, because the authentic version of myself has no hate for how we used to interact, because it was a two-part thing, right? It was a dance the whole time. Whatever you did and whatever I did and how we responded to it, we were both playing that game. But I'm not showing up for that one anymore. This is the one I'm showing up for. And I'm going to apologize for the fact that I could not be who I was before. A little bit, but not fully. Because I'm not sorry. I just apologize that it's going to affect you the way that it does.
Yeah. Lady Siren
Respectfully.
says we're related, but y'all are not my family, respectfully. And listen,
Yeah, respectfully.
you know, we can be related but not have relationship.
There you go.
In which case, all we are is related.
All right.
Relationship is always work. It's the work you put in. It's the consistency. It's the, you know, hey, I'm just checking in.
Right.
You know, it's those things. And a lot of times we go through that because of the fact that our lives are so chaotic, right? And you never know what somebody's going through. And it takes those moments of like really being genuine, right? Where somebody can actually tell you, okay, this is what my life has been like. And as soon as you have those moments, you realize like, oh, you were dealing with a lot too. And it's not, but without those moments, we view it as you don't give a fuck.
Yeah. You'll have those moments with people who care, but then you'll also have those conversations with people who just run your mouth, run your information around as gossip. But the ones who will show up and have that conversation with me, will have that conversation. By all means, ask me. I tell people all the time, ask me absolutely anything. I'm an Aries. I love answering questions. I love getting to the bottom of things. When the sting wear off, we'll reconvene and see what we're going to do with it after that. But ask me direct questions by all means, and then we can change the narrative. But some people are going to show up how they are, and I just can't keep showing up the way that I used to for those type of people in the same way. I unsubscribe from that way of behaving with you.
Yeah.
It has a lot to do with making sure your cup is full. Right? If your cup is not full, you don't have anything to pour. And if you've been pouring into people, those are the times where they should pour back into you.
Until then, you see me when I get back to the overflow, my dude.
Right.
Hate it for you.
Right.
You'll be all right.
Right.
Go ahead, Ascari. Let's check in. That was a long check in, but
it was a long check in.
I didn't want to pass up that moment of just like, you know,
I got you.
Connection.
My week has been rough because I've been trying to get up enough money to go to Houston to go see these Lady Sirens feature down there. And I just kind of got to the point of like, all right, I'm doing way too much to try and make this happen. And I would leave in a scenario where everything isn't settled. So I'm just kind of like put that down. And as soon as I put it down, opportunity started coming in. And it just like was like a free flow thing going on. I really just need to slow down. Like I just need to like, and this is actually something that like I went and spoke to a person who does astrology, and she told me you have to slow down, you have to be more stable in your stuff. And everybody has been telling me this, mind you.
Yes.
There's an anxiety that I have for like what I didn't do that I think I should have accomplished. So I'm always trying to catch up to like, all right, I got to do, if I get this done, then I can do this. And I get to moments of comparison. I get to moments of not only comparing myself to my peers, but also comparing myself to what I used to be able to do. This week was a real awakening for you are not the old Ascari. Like you have aged, your body is different, the way you move is different, and you can't keep pulling from this like this just everlasting energy that you had before. Like it's not, I still have it. I still desire to have it, but my body is like, nah, bro, like chill out. So, yeah, I hit this week. I woke up every day and did push-ups and sit-ups, and been working on my jump rope. And I'm like, all right, if I get 300 jumps in a day, if I get 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups in a day, I should be all right in about a month. I got to day 4 and was like, oh, this ain't gonna work out. Thought it was gonna work out. So I'm gonna have to settle for like, all right, maybe I just do jump rope, every day consistently for 30 days.
Yeah.
And I add push-ups and sit-ups in here and there. But I just real my body is like not recovering as fast as it used to, and it's really, really like,
I wonder why.
Yeah. So I'm just like, gotta slow down. I have to do things a little bit more methodically. I have to be kinder to myself. And kinder in how I eat, because when you rushing, you grab what's available, right? And so I've been grabbing what's available for a while now. And I sat down at my mother's house. I went to see my mother and my stepfather. I sat down and they offered me, hey, do you want a salad? I went in there and made a salad, and that salad tasted like the best thing I had ate in so long. And I'm like, cause it's a salad. You know this already. What are you doing? Like of course it's gonna taste good. It's a salad. You need to eat salad. Like, and I was just like, yo, what am I doing? Like, I need to slow down, because if I'm not eating properly, it's because I'm not in the house. Right? I'm not preparing the meals like I used to, because I used to make a big bowl of salad and just pick from it throughout the week. And now I'm like, yeah, when was the last time that I juiced anything? When was the last time that I just did these simple things about taking care of myself? So that's that for this week was that. And I had a conversation with one of my friends, and he told me, I've seen you, and we've been friends since 14 years old. And he said, I've watched you most of your life be kinder to everyone else. You are yourself. And you put this amount of pressure on yourself as if there's something to prove. And you're already doper than most of the people around you. And you're still trying to prove. And it's like, who are you proving it to? So, and I've heard that, of course, from you, Tariq, and I just
you don't listen to me when I talk, because
obviously
you could also solve all your financial problems very easily. You just need to go ahead and start that OnlyFans. I don't know what you're waiting on. People will pay for the masked poet.
Wait a minute now. Let's see.
You see what I'm talking about? You see how excited she got? Did you
pinch my pennies together for a little bit of that? Especially the one he bought the other night. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm just, listen, I ain't trying to turn you out. I'm just trying to help you use what you got to get what you need.
I'm trying to take you to Magic Mountain.
Stop playing with this jump change. You're going to mess right around, and you're going to only be 4 years going to be the past. You're going to only be driving the Toyota Tercel.
Not the Toyota Tercel. They don't even make those.
I'm trying to help you out,
Oh my God.
Yeah. But it was overall a good week. My last 2 days. But we'll talk about that a little later.
Okay.
My last 2 days were really, really rough.
Yeah, I love that.
But last night we did Pour Your Heart Out. It was an amazing show.
Good.
Great show.
Nice.
Good. All right. Well, we're gonna hop on into Sunday brunch. I know we just said that you were gonna go first earlier, but in light of something that you just said, which is in alignment with what I wanted to talk about, I want to go first.
You got it.
With my weak eye. All right. For those of you who are just joining us, I have allergies.
Is it wet? You got a wet cloth?
This is dry, but I have an ice pack over here.
Keep a wet cloth. If you do a dry cloth, it's going to irritate it.
Okay. Well, this ice pack is also helping. So anyway, this is what I was thinking about this morning in preparation for the show. We're no longer friends. I have an ex-friend who, to me, used to have like a really odd habit. I would notice whenever I went over to his apartment, it could be cold outside. He's not gonna have the heat on. He's gonna put on some long johns and a bathrobe, get under a blanket or whatever. It could be warm outside, he's not turning the air conditioner on unless company comes, in which case he'll turn it on for you for the duration of the time that you're there. I stayed at his place a few times, and I noticed I would see him going around at night, lamps unplugged, toaster unplugged, blender unplugged, and using the microwave unplugged. Anything that was not being used was unplugged. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, you make enough money to be like, what are you doing? And he explained to me that he grew up poor, or whatever. And so in his household, they just didn't believe they were not wasting money. They were not wasting energy. And so anything that was not being used, I think it was his grandmother taught him this. Anything that was not being used had to be unplugged. And he said, you would be surprised how much money you will save, because even those things that are just seemingly sitting dormant are actually leaching energy. The toaster's it's sucking energy out. The microwave is sucking energy out. And I asked him how much his electric bill was. And when he told me, I was like, damn. It's like, you maintain this on a monthly basis? Crazy. It was crazy to me. But in terms of like savings, right, it made a lot of sense. And so I was reflecting on that this morning and thinking about power management, energy management, and how important it is to unplug everything that is not essential, because those things cost you. I was thinking about how often we find ourselves in situations where you feel drained and depleted, and you don't really know why you feel drained and depleted. Now, it could be that you're doing too much, like actively and consciously aware of the fact that you're doing too much, like what you were just talking about, Askari. But it may be also that you have a lot of things plugged in that are seemingly dormant, benign, things that subconsciously in the background are still sucking energy out of you. And that can be people and relationships. You're not actively talking to them, but you're always thinking about their problems and what they're going through, what you're going to say to them the next time. It can be habits that you have that, on the surface, they may seem to be, benign things. But in truth, if you sit with yourself and ask yourself, how do you feel afterwards? You usually don't necessarily feel good about the thing, or you feel drained, or anything that leaves you feeling bad about yourself and about who you are. Energy vampire, right? So it can be any number of things that are just sort of plugged in. You're not doing it right now, but you're going to get to it. And it's important to go through your life and do an inventory of all of the appliances, the things that you're applying energy to, that you have plugged in that are sucking energy out of you, and unplug them. Now, on the surface, it seems like such an unnecessary thing, but when you realize how much energy that will allow you to save for yourself, which is the most important thing, because you're giving your energy out to everything else and everybody else, and then you don't have enough for you. There's a certain amount that is required from us for work every day. And if you work a job like mine, like I was just talking to Wesley this morning, it doesn't stop when I get off, when I leave school at 3 o'clock and come home. This goes from 3 o'clock until the time that I go to bed. It's constant. And even when it looks like I'm just sitting around not doing anything, I'm lesson planning in my head, because 90% of my job happens up here.
Right.
From the moment that I wake up in the morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm thinking, how am I going to go in and talk to these students about XYZ today? What does the flow of the class need to look like? Who's behind that I have to remember to talk to so that I can get them caught up and make sure that they don't fail? What research do I need to be working on in order to add to my tenure portfolio? And when am I actually going to find time to do that research? Let me sit down and write some notes for it, even though I don't have time to work on it right now. What professional development activities are available, and when can I participate in them? Because that's a part of my tenure portfolio also. So it's a nonstop round the clock job.
Yeah.
It's not, I teach at 9, 10, 1, and 2, leave work at 3 o'clock and I'm done. No, I got papers to grade, constant. And that's a constant flow of energy going out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships, like I said, with people who are not pouring back into you. Why are you maintaining those relationships? Why are you allowing people to drain you? Why are you keeping people around who don't have anything positive to offer you? Everybody is not your assignment. And sometimes we see people in a much more, in a much deeper way than they're able to see themselves, and we want to try to help them get to it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't force anybody to see themselves. I can't want more for you than you want for yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, back to the job thing. I definitely have been guilty of that with the job, because I've got, I think I told you all a few weeks ago, I teach 4 classes, but within each class, there's almost 3 different classes. The students the small percentage of students who are there and prepared, the intermediate group that's like, they kind of, it doesn't take much to get them there. And then there's the ones who, for most of their lives, who have been left completely behind, pushed to the back of the classroom. And if somebody doesn't guide them, take them by the hand and drag them through it, they're going to fail. And I feel a special responsibility to not be the professor who just lets them fail. So I invest a lot of energy trying to help. I'm going to give you extensions. I'm going to work with you individually while the rest of class is going on. But I've had students where we just had spring break and I say, okay, you're a month behind the rest of the class. So while we're on spring break, I need you to work on this paper. This is what I need you to do, so that when you come back, we'll be able to do X, Y, Z. Come back from spring break. All right, so how much did you get done? Nothing. Nothing. All right, baby. It's time to sink or swim. I can't help you anymore.
Ooh, that's the hardest one though, ain't it?
It is, but I can't do anything else for you. Short of writing this paper for you, I can't do it. I will not do it, because I want more for you than you want for yourself. And I get it. You got a lot of stuff going on, but so do I.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. You're battling depression, but so am I. And I still have to show up in here.
Mm-hmm.
Other friendships where you invest so much time and energy with people, and when they get what they need, they walk on off. And now here you are looking stupid with your helpful ass.
Thank you.
With your helpful ass. You know, I had somebody send me a friend request on social media yesterday, whom I was very close to, but I haven't heard from since 2017. I denied that shit so fast because I don't care what your excuse and reason was. When you needed me, I was there for you. I don't need to hear your sad story. When you dipped out on me, you made a decision as to what the value of this friendship truly was to you. And I wasn't even important or worthy or deserving of an explanation or anything. So I'm not interested. You're not about to come plug back into me and start sucking my energy out, telling me what you've been through and how. Listen, not concerned. You cannot plug in, you can set yourself up to be like one of those little electric outlets they set up at the airport where everybody can come and plug in.
Yeah.
Charging station.
Charging station. I'm not about to be a charging station.
I only have that space for certain people, and even that I have to like I'm cutting back on because it's draining. It's draining, especially when I think the point of even desiring to be in that faith is for temporary, right? Let me give you a jump. I'm not about to be your battery though, right? Like you see, like it's like, for example, if you giving somebody a jump, and then your car they take all your energy, and now your car won't start. You gave them so much that now you can't go nowhere, and it's like, no, that ain't what this is supposed to be.
Yeah. You know what changed that for me? I heard it someplace they were saying like, you know, when you act like your people are supposed to come to you for everything, like you got to be the plug for it. It's like you almost in a way, like yeah, they expect you that way. You know, you're supposed to be the one that they're coming to. Especially like for me with the children, it's like you guys are older, and it's like I cannot support you the way that I did when you were younger. And they were like, you have to get out of your children's way. You can't keep protecting them from what happens because you are pretty much, but you know, you're in the way of God. It's you know, your parents, God, your parents, and then so ultimately we're all here to learn. We're not here for any other purpose other than eat, sleeping, and pooping, and those are functionalities, but we're here to learn and to do something with what we learn. But if you're constantly in that way of even our friends, family, or anyone else, you are in the way of the reason that they're even here. And it's almost like trying to break someone's fall. You can't. You will break someone's neck trying to break their fall. Let them land the way they will instinctually land. Then you triage and here you go, get back up. But the healing is in the body. All that you can do is a kind of, but you don't even do that for them. I stopped thinking that I did it for them. I did it because we are here. Service is a debt you pay to live on this planet. I don't do any service from a conversation to giving something away for that person. I do it because it was a necessary thing. So there is no exchange that I'm expecting from them, even time. I'm an accountant. I've been an accountant for 15 years. Everything has to be reconciled. Every relationship. And it does not mean that when you're in a business, you don't look at any of those reconciliations with emotion. You're not going to be like, I'm mad I had to pay this $100,000, this, whatever it is, you're going to pay it because that is the exchange in that agreement. But also you're not going to keep putting as much money into that category that you don't see any returns on. Don't mean you got to hate it. You might even, you push it further down on your list of expenses. It still remains because you're connected to that person. And then, it's no longer a usable account. Eventually you charge it off. You may look back at it at another time when it's better and approach it differently. I owe them nothing. They owe me. I don't take that much. It costs too much.
You got to figure out what your exchange rate is.
Yes. And then keep figuring it out. It's like we're recalibrating now every week, every month. I heard someone say that like a marriage, it should be you should
renegotiate it.
Renegotiate it all your relationships. You should be silently renegotiate them, not for hate, not for bitterness, not for no petty get back, but to see if you still want to keep giving that energy to them, to that particular person, because somebody else with a totally different face you've never seen will use it or, benefit from it in a more reciprocal way if you just realize that particular account, respectfully, is no longer one that you're going to keep on dumping assets into.
I ain't got no energy for anybody that's done already ran off on the plug twice.
Right.
I don't have it.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's bad money, bad business. We don't invest in bad business. I can hear you, Yogi.
Go ahead. You that's all I had.
But to your point, when we get together, and to bring it back to what we were talking about earlier, when we get together as families, when we get together as groups, we need to have a charging station at that moment. When we're collectively together. I don't know the last time I've seen my family do a group hug.
Yeah.
Besides the holding of the hands to pray over the food, I don't know the time where we've just sat and did any kind of affirmations on each other or just that exchange, right? Where it's you get that why do we have to go to healing circles to
Yeah.
get moments?
I don't even pray over the food.
You
I'm
know
like,
why?
oh,
That's that new age shit. That's
Right.
we
See,
believe
like
in Jesus. We just gonna
Yeah.
pray, scream a little bit, and speak in tongues, and you're gonna be all right, baby.
Right.
But I mean, if you get out of the manipulation of religion, like my father's side of the family, I'm really close with, and we'll have family functions where everybody gets together. And if it's not a prayer, I remember one time we had a family reunion and it was massive. We were down south because and I don't know if it's a song, I Need You to Survive. It's like a gospel song.
I need you. You need
But
me. We're
in
all a part of
unison,
God's
like
family.
I feel like I am at a deeper connection with each person that was there at that time because
Mhm.
we all sang it together. Like, where do we all meet up? And you know what I mean?
That's
Because
the
I
intersection.
feel like, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We're trying to get out of that way of looking at the old family structure of obligation and look at it like we are. I told my cousins the other day at my uncle's funeral, we're the elders now. We get to decide what the next level is going to look at our span. If you're between the ages of maybe 35 and like 60, I would say, you are responsible for the seeds that you plant, for the trees that will grow, including in your family. You can put internal damnation on them for your perspective. They still gonna grow and do whatever they're gonna do, or you can do whatever you can do to influence a change in the ones that are willing to show up for it. Not everybody going to. That's what I say all the time. I don't want people to like me because somebody else like me. I want you to dislike me because I want you to like me for a reason that connects to me directly, or stay away from me. I am very much that type of person. So I think the same thing happens when you're trying to do good works. Everybody isn't meant to show up for it. Everybody can't go. Everybody wasn't meant to.
Yeah.
But you can affect a change in the people that do just by being like, all right, this year we're going to set up a family reunion and we're going to have a little bit of an itinerary. If they show, they don't show, it don't work out. If it fail, it collapse. Maybe there's a younger kid like in the family that's looking at it like, maybe there's a different way that I can do it, or someone else is influenced by at least you giving a valiant effort. Isn't that why we study history so much? These valiant attempts at doing something different that made us a different species of people, pretty much.
You know, I made that face because I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but then at the same time, because other people have said that to me as well. Like, you know, you're all the elders are leaving. You're going to be one of the elders now. I'm disqualified as an elder in my family by reason of my sexuality. So my contributions are null and void.
But I think that's by the old way of thinking.
Right.
The new way of thinking is more, because I listen to the kids.
The young ones think in the old way because it's all they've ever known. You got to remember, I'm coming from a deep South family. There's not a whole lot of progress in education, right? This is all what they know and what they've been taught is all that they've ever known.
Right.
And it's there. You know, prior to me coming out, we get together for Thanksgiving dinner. Because I was an ordained minister, would you lead the prayer for the, before we eat? Immediately, that shit changed immediately after I came out. Like, you're looking around to decide, well, who's going to pray? Well, it's your house. So okay. I see how this works.
Right.
I have nothing, and I'm fine with that.
Jesus card revoked.
I am totally fine with that.
But they didn't give you your Jesus card in the first. But you know what I'm saying? But I still think that is a lot of, because I listen to my kids, my daughter and her friends speak, and they actually require of one another to cut they shit. It's no more of that just sitting around and like pointing fingers and laughing. It's like, no, you know what I mean? So that has to happen at some point. Somebody has to be responsible for no is such a beautiful thing. I'm learning the value of no in so many spaces. No is a form of self-care. No is a weapon. No is a form of love. No is a form of understanding. No is a form of change. No is so important.
Come on and Sunday morning preach it here.
I got
no. You know what I'm saying? Real slow like.
Yeah.
You said you got a what, Scary? I'm sorry.
I have a no poem.
I would love to hear that one.
It's not done, but I'm working on it.
Ascari, give us what you got this morning.
Oh, okay. First, before I move on from that, you talked about singing together, right? I think that the intersection, when we talk about religion, talking about spirituality is the science of energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we call the breath, or the movement, or the flow of energy,
Mm-hmm.
which is electrical and moves by vibration. There's a movie called Cabin in the Woods. Scary movie. In the movie, there's these, crazy scientists that are pouring fear, harvesting fear from all around the world to feed it to these monsters, so that the monsters don't come out, right? Or gods, whatever you want to call them. But they're scaring people and collecting their fear and feeding that to these titans or monsters or gods. And they do the experiment all over the world. They're recording it, harvesting the fear. Point being, there's a classroom in China where they're sending different scary things. So it's like they got a whole zoo of monsters that they send out to collect this fear. They send some sort of
it's a crazy movie.
It's really right. It's like poltergeist to this classroom in China. And the kids, it's little kids. They are scared beyond their minds, screaming, crying, all of that. And then they start singing. And they start grabbing hands. And they start singing and chanting. And the collectiveness of the song neutralizes the poltergeist. And it was, for me, when I saw that point in the movie, I'm like, yo, this is exactly what we're missing, is the intersection between where science and religion intersects, which is our actual beings. Like, we actually changed our water, our motion, through singing and chanting and vibration. So as if we do these things, sometimes we don't even need to talk about the issues.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just need that moment of, and this is why
the energy,
right? Sporting events where we start chanting for whatever team, or we're singing somebody's song.
You feel it.
You feel it. So it's like those moments are needed. Those moments are needed and extremely needed, where you just say, hey, we just gonna sing a song. Because I remember when I grew up, there was just so much more singing. So much more like, hey, we're gonna sing this song together. And the music at the time, right, of course, had so many more prominent songs where we would just all sing together, whether it be Whitney Houston or Luther Vandross or whatever. It was just so many things, and people, Bryson. I remember the Disney song used to be so powerful, the messages, but also it just had this moment of coming together in those spaces. And I think that is one, what church should be, which church is a lot of times, but always has that theme of, whatever. But if it was just about being human and connecting and recharging, I would love to see that. The only time I've ever seen that was a movie called Fern Gully back in the day. But it had these jungle hymns where it was the jungle, and I was like, yo, this it stuck in my head, because I'm like, that's what we need. We need songs about praising our environment. We need songs about pouring and getting energy from this space and all of that. And so that's when it comes to family and all of that, sometimes, man, just start singing. But I can't wait to learn how to play the piano or guitar. I could just bust out and
Right. You got to find a way to change the frequency, because screaming at the frequency or being upset with the frequency that you're on is kind of a waste of time. I feel like that is this, if you look at it this to me is the hell, and this to me is the heaven. It's literally, I can keep turning over here and being like, why are you hell? Well, I could just turn my back and invest all of this in the heaven and be the, you know what I mean? You be the change or the force that you wish to see. You show up as it, and then that appears, because I sat with Ascari and we did the cipher, and to me that feels like a holy place, because it's these intimate parts of people that they're sharing, how they learned through it. All of these things to me are sacred experiences that we got to be open to share. But if we stuck on looking at the hell of the worst in people, we'll forever be there. And then we'll just be another generation of people perpetuating the same psyche and say, well, they did it and there's not a lot that I can do. You can't. I'm saying by all means, absolve yourself from the responsibility and showing up in places that make you feel like shh. But when you can take whatever it was that was and be like, all right, now somebody in my family, because I could promise you, Tariq, I don't know your family well, but I'm sure that there is a kid somewhere like me. When I think of my cousin Mark, he's gay, and he is like one of the smartest people in my family, and he's always been this really tall, exuberant, like he's a different type of person. You know what I mean? But it was not accepted, and I saw how much he suffered from not being accepted. But he was also one of the first ones that like went and was like, you don't have to wear fancy shoes. He would wear boat shoes. I'd never seen boat shoes before, not in the projects. High waters. He's like, I don't care what I wear. He's like, I go to school with people that do, you know what I mean? So he brought these different things to me that his sexuality is not the thing that I hold sacred for him being my cousin. You know what I mean? But if he would have taken away, like he gave me my first leather bound cover of Alice in Wonderland for Christmas. You know what I mean? Nobody was doing that. It was the last Christmas and I didn't get anything. But I'm saying, like, how you show up in your best form to that area that look like heaven to you is all you owe this state of existence. Because what's going to eventually happen is whatever is over there being hell is going to be like, damn, I can't really I can't rock with her no more. Like, it's going to be some bitterness, some resentment. It's going to be a whole bunch of, pushback. But it's like, I don't have to show up for that either. I don't have to answer to you for why I'm no longer who you thought you was fucking with.
I'm just showing. I'm gonna always show up and be authentically me. And
yes, absolutely.
Take
but
a
show
page
up.
From a scar,
right.
Just break out in song.
Yeah. Either they go around. Oh gosh, should have known.
Hands on your knees. I'm just gonna break out in song.
So letting it breathe. All right.
Whatever it is, be your authentic self. Somebody is going to mess with it. Somebody is going to be happy that you did it just so they was like, I had something to say, but I was scared to say it. But now that he showed up and showed who he was for real, with purple socks or a ascot or whatever you feel like doing. You know what I mean?
That is so gay.
No, I wear one. I have a scarf and I'm trying to get used to my bald head. So I'll wear a scarf and then I'll tie it around my neck. And my daughter was like, you dress so eccentric.
Let me tell you something.
We gotta be that.
That's your gay cousin.
His influence.
You only got to gossip about it. You have to guess about it. The one with the ascot, he gay. he is a gay.
But look, he parties like nobody else. He shows up. He makes space for our family year over year, even if people don't show up and he get mad personally. He is constantly a space of what family should look like, beyond everybody who is like, oh, when you got pregnant as a teenager, you're absconded from the family, beyond everybody. The black sheep. The black sheep. But let me tell you,
okay.
But
and all her sisters.
And while they talking about him, meanwhile, you guys are all what's on your tongue at the time of you speaking is.
That's it. Y'all want to talk about me? We can talk about it now. We're gonna also talk about all these kissing cousins up in here.
You got the fan came out.
Let's talk about it all.
While we over in the closet, let's dig out, you know what I mean? That that little, that thing that you wore that you try to act like you don't wear now that you in church.
Who's your real daddy?
Right.
Not the one your mama told you.
Who's
your real daddy? You know that ain't your daddy, right?
When I watch Freaknik, I had so many people that ask their parents, like, if I watch Freaknik, am I going to see you on there?
Right.
And want an honest answer. So y'all cannot tell these kids but how to be better people. How to be their authentic self. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so
I'm sorry.
So my last 2 days this week, I had a friend who asked me to go do a juice demonstration with him. And he needed me to be there at 7 a.m. So I had to get up at 5:30 to drive up to train. Got up there, worked, was done there by 2:30. The night before, another friend called me and asked me to come help him do some plumbing work. Said, I got some cracked pipes. I need you to come help me fix them. I said, all right, we'll go to the store. I'll come take a look at it. Then we'll go to the store, get the supplies, come back and take care of it. From what the pictures he sent me, I was like, it should be something simple. I got back to Philly at 5:30. His basement had flooded. And I walk into the basement being flooded, and I'm like, yo, the store is only going to be open for another 4 hours. And we got to clean this water up, figure out what is needed, and then come in and do the work after that. And I've been up since 5:30. And so
I would just move.
So we cleaned up. So I get my shop back out. We vacuumed the water. It was about 6 trips of a 5 gallon. So we're talking about like 30 gallons of water. And we finally get the pipe open and we vacuum the pipe out. And it's plumbing. Shit, right?
Oh.
Shit. You can say shit on this show. It's fine.
So just in general, like vacuuming out a drain line is crazy. Opening up a drain line and seeing that the pipe is like this, but this much is being used because that much down here is full of all of the years and years. So when you flush something and you think, oh, the pipe, the pipe is you got a 4-inch pipe, but only an inch of it is free. And like, I just was like, oh my, and then trying to touch it with the tool to like clear it out. It's not moving. It's solid. It's been caked up in there for years. And I was just like, yo, this is crazy. And I thought about, as we're doing this work, most people don't realize they have bad pipes until it comes up into their bathroom or their kitchen sink. But the amount of footage of pipe all the way from the basement, all the way going out to the street, all of that has been being packed up for years. And I just was like, yo, this is exactly how we live. Yeah. We don't do nothing about it until it kicks back. And now we got to deal with, what is that? Where is that stuff?
You got a shitty situation.
You got a whole shitty situation.
Truly.
And it takes us, sometimes we got to remove some pipe. Sometimes we got to get a snake. You know what I mean? And the snake would be therapy. The snake would be, healing, grounding yourself, going and doing self-care, and just really, really getting back, having a flow.
Yeah. Yes.
And in that whole process, it flooded 3 times. So it didn't happen just the first time. Yeah, when I got there, we put the boot on. I reconfigured the sink, did it all, flooded again. And I'm like, yo, we just put the new pipes on. Everything should be we vacuumed it out. Still not right. Had to go get the snake just to realize it was a Clorox wipe. A Clorox wipe all the way by the main line for the street was blocking up the whole house.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just sitting there. This is so crazy. But that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for the years of things being caked up. So that space of like anything can knock you off once you got years of backup.
I need to know who. I would have to find out who put them damn Clorox wipes down. I need to know.
For anybody watching this, don't flush no Clorox wipes. Don't flush no baby wipes. They do not decompose. They stay whole. They're durable and they tough than a mother.
That is true. Oof.
And something simple can like really, really mess you up. And based off of you don't have no flow. And you've been operating in half a flow and feeling like that is a flow this whole time. But when you think about it, are you as happy as you were when you were a kid?
That's if you were happy as a kid.
True. True. Very true. But do you have those moments of just pure joy, of pure laughter, of pure, just the feeling of like, I'm enjoying this without any worries? Do you give yourself those moments? Do you intentionally, like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to take a walk and and just observe and enjoy, or I'm going to take myself someplace nice and sit and be, and read a book or hug a tree or look at the flowers or just anything, walk up and give somebody a random compliment with no intention. I ain't trying to get your number. I'm just, you look nice.
That's true. You know, my favorite thing was like before, when I felt myself going through a depressive episode, I'll see someone, I'll look for somebody that's having a difficult situation worse than what I'm going through. And like, I'll give them something and write a note on it. So I'm like, maybe that changed their day a little bit. And by knowing that it's still being here when I feel like I don't really want to be, I can still have influence on somebody else. I like to do that. That's not, that pulls me out of depression sometimes.
But that's the alchemy, right? Like, you can literally put your intention into an object and charge it with your energy so that when a person receives it, they are now charged.
Yes. I love that. The flow of all things. So we just sitting on a house full of poop and just don't even want to do maintenance on it until Ascari, that's the carpenter, the plumber, the masked. What don't you do, sir? 'Cause I haven't heard his whole bio, but I didn't know you did plumbing.
Yeah, my stepfather is a master plumber. My father is a master carpenter. So
wow.
A little bit of everything.
That's awesome.
Hey, so listen, I got this toilet that is constantly running.
We could FaceTime. We could talk about it. I'll see with it.
Definitely, because I can't find the part that's necessary in order to fix it. I've tried, but this house was built in 2000, so it's a 24-year-old toilet. Now,
get a new toilet. That's number one. It's $100.
Get a new toilet
for a push flush toilet. Yeah,
it's one of the ones with the 2 buttons on the top. It is,
It can't be that old. They didn't start putting them in they didn't start using those until like 10 years ago.
No, this house was built in 2000. And my
mom. The one with a little small and then a larger one over the top of it.
One of the first generation joints. Okay.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Edwina, what you got before we get out of here?
My ex was a plumber. I'll tell you the joke afterward that led for me to even be bothered. But my conversation today would be on the sovereignty of bitter pills, right? Like when I cut my hair off, and with everything that I was going through around that time, I really felt like I didn't want any attachment to anybody that saw me in some superficial way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you share a poem and then you think somebody's talking to you about the poem, but they really trying to, like, nah. I was so upset about the state of things that I just really didn't want anybody to see me in this positive light. And it kind of, lately I've started taking bitters. The bitters, like it's turmeric and soursop. I have rheumatoid. Yeah, there's a liquid they make for it, like a tincture kind of, or now I found the pills that you just stick under your tongue, and it's supposed to help your body with absorption and help to detoxify your liver and things of that nature. Those 2 things made me think about my uncle and my brother. My uncle that just passed, and my brother. They look so much alike, and they both had similar stories throughout. But there was something that I always looked up to my brother about that never really, I don't think a lot of people could understand, because he was doing things that weren't exactly legal. But like, I knew the reasons that he was doing them. So it was like, we didn't have anything. And he took $15 and turned it into thousands of dollars by the end of the month. And that fed our family for a while. You know what I mean? But it took from these 3 things. The reason I'm comparing them is because it's like the sovereignty of bitter pills. When are you ready for something different enough to go through a space that you feel uncomfortable and unattractive and whatever it is that you're expected to feel, look, or be? That's hard, because when you do that, you're going to lose people that expect you to always be on. Like, my brother lost a lot of friends who expected him to do things a different way. You know what I mean? Or like, I lost a lot of so-called, whatever those people are, because I showed up in a different way. And I'm fine with that, because it kind of made space for relationships that I feel are more authentic. Yeah, they're
True.
less in number.
Mhm.
I've never been that popular, so all that kind of popularity thing kind of felt superficial to me anyway. But it's like taking these pills, they are very disgusting. Even the bitters themselves are disgusting. But the reason that you take them is because they're supposed to help change, you produce more saliva. It's supposed to help you to, like, change the way that your tongue kind of receives things, especially like that, how we're so used to having so much sugar in everything that we almost don't taste it until we have an exorbitant amount of it.
Hmm.
Things of that nature. So there's these really good benefits of it if you could sit through a few minutes of just feeling like the most disgusting experience in your life. Now, like,
Right.
and like dealing with cutting my hair. For women, our hair is such a tie to our personality. It's almost like, can you deal with a space where you almost have to no longer be able to identify with the person that you were enough to love the person that you are now? It'd be like,
Mhm.
this is how I'm showing up now. If you can't rock with it, then you don't. It's the same thing with ourselves. It's like, are you ready? I'm trying to convince myself that I am ready to do those difficult things, like taking the bitters every morning, like going for a run every other day, because I know that helps with my mobility, like turning off my phone at night, even if that was one of the scariest things to me in the world. But all of those things is interrupt my sleep. So, like, doing things, being here where I am now alone, you know what I mean? All of these things have changed the way that I looked at life. It's changed the way that I looked at my need to show up in certain ways, but it's also changed the fact that I don't feel like nasty things or bitter things or uncomfortable things are something I need to avoid.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I'm like,
Mhm.
and there's a sovereignty in that, because there's a responsibility of showing up and taking that nasty medicine.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? To taking that strong medicine straight, no chaser. There is the fact that you're gonna have to get comfortable with it. Not everybody is going to know what to do with you in order to rock with you. Some people will leave, just like the taste or that desire for sweet will eventually leave if you get past the bitterness of taking those bitters. Your body will reject it. Like right now, there's been so many things. I get a lot of headaches, and when you're fasting, you go through the dry mouth because your body is rejecting this new state of things. It's so used to the old toxic way that it almost rebels against you
You're speaking to me
physically.
this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, your body will, even your body, just like the people, will rebel against you when you're a bit, you get into that place where you don't care that it's going to be a little bit or really uncomfortable to change. It's just like you're going to have to go through it, and my body rejects it violently. You may even vomit,
Yeah.
but after a while, you know. But in the end of it, it's like you're made better for it. But if you are always in a place where you are avoiding uncomfortable situations, uncomfortable conversations, looking a certain way, which means that you're worried that you're more in tune with what goes on around you than in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
You
I
can't be
know,
committed to the sweet life.
yes, I
Mhm.
know in my body that I need to get rid of these things. And then when I show up and whatever I put to my lips during the course of the day, like you said, those silent chatters in the back of your head, you are either in agreement with what you're putting in your mouth, or you like somewhere in your mind, you're like, I know I don't got no business. Now you're ingesting that. And that's also energetic more than it is just the food that you're eating. If you're eating it and then you're like, I shouldn't be eating this. I'm a bad person for doing this. You know what I mean? It's like the energy that you are going into whatever you're doing has to be in preparation for the fact that the outcome and the experience is not going to be all sweet.
Mhm.
And most of the ones that are always too sweet are not good for you in the first place.
Right.
So you got to get used to. So, but that's what I mean by sovereignty. The freedom is being responsible for what happens when you're free. Because I was sent something to Ascari the other day that someone said, they were like, we sold our freedom for convenience. And I'm like, that stuck with me since I've sent it, because it's like we really have. Everything is so convenient and we're so comfortable with it, as if there aren't a million wars and people going through things around us that can completely change the way we would have to operate. Are you ready to deal with the bitter pills of changing the way that you do things so that you're not this diabetic, sick body that no longer can even function over the weight of the toxic BS that you're taking in mentally, physically, spiritually, what you're reading, who you're talking to, all of that, you're ingesting it. Are you able to ingest those, Can you give out some bitter conversations where you like, sir, ma'am, I can no longer show up for you in the way that you expect me to, and I hope that you love and respect me enough to be like, to understand that in this era, that's not me anymore.
Yeah. It made me, I was thinking that when you were talking about how as a child, whenever we got sick,
Mhm.
I'm from the South, so my stepfather would give us cod liver oil
Yes.
mixed in with orange juice.
Mhm.
And I'm like, bruh, I don't care how much orange juice you
Take the
put
orange.
in this, you can't cover this up with it. It was the most disgusting. I would almost throw up just trying to get the cod liver
Mhm.
oil down.
I
But
hear
they
you.
knew what it was going to do was flush your system out, that whatever was
Yes.
in you
Mhm.
needed to come out of you in order for you to feel better. And so sometimes
Right.
you have to commit to that process, which, like you
Mhm.
said, it may be nauseating. It
Mhm.
may be uncomfortable. It may cause you a few cramps.
Mhm.
God
Mhm.
knows it caused some cramps, Jesus.
Right.
But you have to commit to that. And I also was just kind of listening and resonating with that because, like, this week, I was sitting in therapy, going through it, crying and carrying on, and just telling her everything that had been going on in my mind, because she's asking, like, what tabs do you have open right now? And I'm going through all the tabs and everything. And I also
Mhm.
have this humongous Yeti cup of coffee that I'm sipping from the whole time that I'm crying and everything.
Oh gosh.
I think, I'm not hearing depression. I'm hearing a lot of anxiety though. And I think maybe you need to lay off the coffee. I'm like, no, you fucking lie.
You
You
gonna say that about
understand? I
me?
have been drinking this coffee since I was 9 years old, ma'am. Like, what are you
Mhm.
talking about?
Clogging up your
Yes.
Stop drinking coffee. But I was so upset by it because I had already been thinking it.
Mhm.
Not necessarily because of the anxiety, but just because I have considered
Mhm.
that I want to bring my body back to a resting state where it's not amped up by external stimuli, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But also just that my body has been telling me for a long time, I don't like this.
Yes.
Like your gut and
Mhm.
abdominal pains and all, your body's been, I'm like, listen to your body, listen to your spirit in
Mhm.
all regards,
Yeah.
as it relates to any and everything that may be causing or contributing to the discomfort that you have in your life.
Right.
And sit with yourself until you're able to get to that place where you can come into agreement with accepting the bitter.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know,
That is true.
and I'm finding that it's a moment by moment thing. It is not a one-time decision that you make.
Right.
It is every day getting up and in meditation going through it in your head. Why am I not about to go make that pot of coffee? Okay, so this is why. These are all
Intentional.
the reasons
Mhm.
why. It's over and over and over again until it becomes not second nature, first nature.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Like you
We-
said, most of your work goes on in your mind. So if you're not intentional with that, yeah. I'm sorry.
we
Sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go. We talked about this a while ago.
Just shut your mouth,
Just
talk
hear,
ass.
just hear what I'm saying. Making the recording or the song
Mhm,
that has the intention of what you're trying to practice,
mhm.
Mhm.
then listening to it over and over because you have to convince yourself of the direction you're going
You have to
before you.
reprogram your mind. Is
Right.
what you're
Right.
doing.
Right. So you record yourself saying the thing that you know you need to hear, that you know you've been saying to yourself. Now it's
Mhm.
coming from externally, and you can repeat it internally. And now
Right.
it becomes this echo. And I say this a lot when we do the meditation. I talk about, grabbing the thought and making it echo throughout your body.
Mhm.
That is something that I really, really think is going to be the thing that like is going to heal everybody. Like we get
Mhm.
submersed in a pool, and then whatever you need to hear that gets pumped through loudspeakers into that water while you sitting in it.
Hmm.
And whether it be healing, whether it be intention, whatever,
Mm.
that thing, that ability to submerge yourself in the vibration that you need to be in.
Ooh, so like a real bath with a sound bath, or like a spiritual bath with a sound bath at the same time.
Yes.
Ooh,
Mhm.
yeah, we need to do that when we get to the meetup. That'd be nice.
I shared on the show before, Edwina. There's this, and I'll send you the link for it. You know, the sleep mask that you wear at night to block out all the light. I have one that actually has speakers built into the on the sides and it's Bluetooth, and it connects to your phone. So I record affirmations on the phone, and then just let them play in my head all night long while I'm sleeping. And I got to get back to that. Matter of fact, I need to go pull that mask out today, because those days when I do that, it's some of the best sleep. Like, I wake up feeling just charged and refreshed because I've been repeating my affirmations all night long. So I got to use your tools.
Yes, indeed.
Use your tools.
So I'm going to tell you, I had this meditation app for depression when I was going through the worst of it. And it was like, the woman was like, see yourself on the top of a mountain, right? In your best possible way. And down at the bottom of the mountain, there's another version of you. And that is the one who is, you know, in this ugly, deteriorated state. And it's like you envision yourself running down that mountain and convincing them that there is. I listened to that for 21 days and it completely changed my way of, it didn't just change my way of thinking, it changed the information that presented itself to me. And like one of those things was Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you heard of her. It's one of one of those books. I can't think of the name. But she was saying, like, you are really trying to, like, depression, anxiety, joy, those are the language of the body, right? And it's like from childhood, a lot of us had so much negative talk that gets stuck in your body's language, and you have all of these things. So you're basically, with affirmations, you got to realize that you are convincing your regenerative body that language is no longer the one that is driving your next moves and stuff like that. People look at affirmations as if it's just trying to, but no, you're really trying to reconvince yourself of more positive things, and then those set your intentions, and they change what you see. Like, you know how you can be driving down the street and all of a sudden think of a red car, now all of a sudden you see only red cars. That kind of thing. I really feel like it does. Affirmations are important in that way, and that did change me. So yes,
negative talk is the Clorox wipes of the body.
It is.
Negative talk, it's the Clorox wipes that get stuck in your system.
It will.
Don't flush that shit down. Don't put that in there, because it's not coming out.
Whole septic system.
There it goes right there.
But isn't that the purpose of, like, when you talk about like the crown chakra in the body, isn't that why it's important to start there? Because it is like basically the basis of all of your systems, and draining them and clearing them of all that.
The crown?
I'm not the
root.
Root is what I meant. The root chakra. Yeah. So when you think of that, it's about the same thing. Like, if you can clear that, you're kind of clearing and making sure that you're clearing out your pipes, aren't you?
Yeah, fix your foundation.
Yeah.
Fixing out your septic system.
Yeah. I got this piece before we I don't know.
Of course you do.
Because she was talking about your no, and I was like, I got
yeah. Oh yeah, I do want to hear that one.
I've been working on for that. This is kind of unfinished, but we'll do it.
Okay.
To my unborn daughter, baby girl, practice your no. Practice your no in the mirror. Practice your no so you can pronounce it clearer. Practice your no and let them know my nose can be blown in your direction. If my nose or my intuition smells anything that gives me an inkling of the opposite of provision and protection, my no is not maybe. I'll say yes like Floetry. My no is not longing for a plot twist. Trick my no is not slam poetry. Oh, excuse me. Trick my no is slam poetry. Blatant, unyielding, uncompromised, even when compromised, strong, even when vulnerable, memorable, because I hold my O's in my nose for extra long. My nose can be annoying, like holding my nose when I say that shit. My nose ain't disrespectful because I'm passionate when I say that shit. I'm not being mean because you can't handle direct communication, and I didn't commit to communing with your half-baked brain's asphyxiation. Let me spell it out for you. N-O. Don't make me go in and have your little friends laughing at you like, oh, no, she didn't. Just Right, my computer's moving around. No, she didn't just to do you like that. Don't test me because you ain't really like that, and you won't like finding out I'm really like that. I'm not mean. I just prefer to be seen, not just decorations in the scene. I'm not just a shiny thing, even though my melanin be popping in the sunlight because my moisturized skin got sheen. What I mean is this chit chat don't got to go in circles just for the purpose of trying to revolve them. I ain't 38, but I am special. Now, I'm not being a menace to South Central and LA while drinking my juice in the hood, but do we have a problem? Do you have a problem accepting I said no? That I said no. I said no. That's how I want you to flow, baby girl. And force your peers to leave or grow. No one's perfect. But practice makes perfect practice. So practice, you'll know.
You had a lot going on over there.
Yeah, it's moving around. I'm like, yo, what is going on?
Oh shit. Okay, listen, I'm gonna redeem you since we did poetry.
I love that. Force your peers to leave or grow. That's what it's all about. I love that line.
Let me share this. When I walked into her office, hard-hearted and on guard, head hanging low, mind heavy with hurt, and my bow and arrow back about to crack like a pipe soon to blow, bent like a too heavy bough, about to break because of all the failure fruit hanging from my limbs. In need of a trim, my therapist said, "You've got emotional scoliosis." And I looked at her like, yeah, I know this. Because when the world been burdening your back with stacks of impossible issues, eventually your vertebrae start to show cracks. You get herniated disc and vertebral fractures from your lumbar to your thoracic. She said, "You were born with a private stash of secrets. And in our infancy, we have a tendency to believe secrets to keep are sacred as good as gold because someone told us something no one else is allowed to know. We're easily misled to believe lies because lack of knowledge causes you to see with empty eyes, manipulated into mistaken appraisals of problematic practices that fill us up like empty sacks so we can carry other people's weaknesses on our still developing backs." She asked me, "How long have you been keeping secrets?" And I say, "From the time my eyes saw my first sunrise." She says, "And what do you think such an experience can do to you?" And I say, "I think it made me twisted. I never had the wisdom to resist it. I think it filled my heart with other people's darkness and crushed my spine to dust. I think it bent my body into a confusing question mark. I think it made it impossible for me to trust that, oh shit, that I'm a good person. Because how could that be when I've got way too much of other people's painful pathology swimming around inside me? I can see it. Hand-me-down molestation, common black abandonment, and violation swimming inside like schools of koi fish in a black boy pond, teaching me to secretly obsess over all the hidden turmoil I've got going on." She said, "You got an abnormal curvature of your emotional spine because you're always walking around with too much shit on your mind. Antique trauma and the drama of a time long gone, moments that left marks to memorialize all the conflict you've known, battle scars. So you're tilted and off center, always struggling for emotional equilibrium. Can't find a single thing to celebrate about yourself, so you speak a personal patois of self deprecating idiom. I've made mistakes on purpose. I fucked up a few million times. I've hurt people who didn't deserve it. I've done crazy shit birthed out of the canal of a sometimes sick mind. I've been abandoned, been abused. I've done the math based on the ways I've been used, and I always come up a zero. I've lacked safety and security, which must mean I'm so worthless I didn't even deserve a hero. I've been a hypocrite. I've told lies, and most of the shit I don't even know why. These are the secrets that keep curving my spine, but I want to stand upright. I don't want to keep fighting the weight of emotional scoliosis. I'm burned out. I'm empty. I'm depressed as shit, but everybody knows this. So today, I unburden my soul of unnecessary secrets. I acknowledge the toll it took on the child inside to be asked to hide ugliness in the beauty of his still developing body. Each upsetting event became a secret, a little rain cloud hovering in the blue sky of your brown eyes, reflecting the fall season of your inside life. I acknowledge the toll it took on the child inside, to have his heart filled with the darkest parts of people who should have been leading him to the light long before he was qualified to fight, when he didn't know that the heaviness that filled his soul was never really his own. It was always the weight of somebody else's sins. Today, I speak to my innocence that silently suffered the sentence and pain of other people's problematic conditions, the poison that spread throughout my spirit when I had no agency and no options, no choice but to endure, submit, and listen. Things are different now. And the secrets I thought I had to keep, I see them with better eyes. Those things should never have happened to me. So to heal the morbidly obese condition of the soul inside, I'm taking better inventory of my self-evaluation. Separating the truth from the lies in all my imprinting situations, I'm picking up the pieces of the broken little boy who deserved better protection. I'm calling every fear and anxiety to the table for better inspection. I'm shaking off the weight of all the stones I've stored inside, turning soil into sunlight so my highest vibration can rise, and I rise above the silence of secrets. And today, I unburden my soul. There we go.
Dope.
Whew.
Dope.
That
Definitely.
was a therapy
go.
session in and of itself. Whew. Can I throw one before we go?
Yeah,
You
of
mind?
course.
Okay. All right. This is to a couple of women I know that's going through something right now. I won't go ahead and win that. Hey, sweet lady, changeling, is the deed done? Did you write me off for real? Write me out your will? Write my name on parchment and purge it with fire? Tell me all the signs of liars. Is the deed done? For good? And finally, have you creased the edge with your fingers, licked it closed with your peppered tongue? Have you stamped it with a final kiss goodbye? Is it done already? Haven't you had enough of running from the jump? The fires in between assures that you will run. You running from the smoke when all it took was hope and your fastest moving feet. Is the deed complete? Tell me you're finally worked up the nerve to breathe. Did you finally get the heart to leave? You are so used to believing in your scars, you regarded them as the one. You regarded them as one does the stars at night. The monster under your bed got stuck inside your head. Now everything is hell in this place you dwell. Tell me that you're done, that you surrender your subscription to this telenovela and did the deed as if you know better. Tell there is no measure for acceptable pain. One who hurts you on purpose with closed fists can't close your wounds with roses, baby. Ain't you done yet? Ain't you done having your back used as a scratching post for feral cats with ungroomed claws? You will never out-sympathize his flaws. Leave that between him and God. Twisted, sinister misters intent on running with scissors were meant to get cut. How karma gonna teach him if you keep taking the brunt? Tell me that you're done. Bolster the belief that he can hurt you enough to heal him. You can't heal him at the expense of your skin. There is no end to this prison unless you walk right out the door. All it takes is one decisive decision. Tell yourself no more. Say it with your voice, even through the tremble timber. All it takes is choice and your fastest moving feet. The dream will repeat for weeks. The one where you're right back where you started. The getting going's the hardest. Excuse me.
You got it, boy. You okay?
The one when you're right back where you started. The getting going is the hardest thing you'll ever do, but I believe in you. You've got work to do. Just tell me that you're done. Then for God's sakes, run. These are the ways of the changeling, my dear. And that's where I ended that.
That's all right. Get
Yeah.
yourself together.
Mhm.
You said what I needed to hear today, which I'm carrying with me into this week. All it takes is choice.
Mhm.
All it takes is choice.
Yeah.
Powerful
It does. Thank you.
Definitely powerful.
across the board.
I appreciate it. Oh, this is a great show, you guys. Thank
Yeah.
you.
We were working with the skeleton crew today, but we put some meat on them bones. So that's
Right, we did.
nice.
And Lady Siren's been in the comment. I've been reading all of her comments. So for real, it's on
Absolutely.
point. Hope you're feeling better, and Nate, I hope you're feeling better too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, definitely.
Lottie, I haven't seen her in a while, but I hope she's well.
Absolutely. This is a good show, y'all. I've enjoyed this conversation. I got what I needed, and I'm looking forward to a powerful week. For those of you in the audience who are watching this, listening to this, I hope that you heard something that you found beneficial, something that will help you heal. Know that you are strong. Know that you are equipped. Know that everything that you need to be everything that you are supposed to be is already inside you. Go through your life. Unplug all of the unnecessary energy vampires that are sucking the life out of you. Save some for yourself. Flush your pipes. Make sure that you unclog all of the unnecessary accumulations that you have you've gathered over the years. Make space for you. Absolutely make space for you. And know that all it takes is choice.
That's right.
And make a jingle about it.
Okay, we heard it.
I cannot get that shit out of my head. You understand? Like,
it's the TikTok for me that be remixing the songs and making them into like just something that sticks way more than the song itself sticks.
Drake used it at a concert recently.
What?
He
That
played
remix?
it in one of his concerts recently. It's like,
Oh, right, because Sexy Red is on his label, right?
yeah, pay her. Make sure that girl gets paid.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a bop. That should be on the remix.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll be back next Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we hope to see you here. Those of you who are watching us on the replay, please follow us on Instagram _Sankofa Collective. You can DM me any questions that you have, topics that you'd like to have addressed, or if you have mailbag questions that you want to submit, we'll take those too, within reason. We'll take those within reason. But yeah, feel free. All of your mailbag submissions. I'm the only one who has access to the account. And they will be read anonymously. I'll never disclose who it was that sent it, but we're here to help and to help people find healing, whatever that looks like for you in whatever stage that is. Get yourself some allergy medicine this week so you won't be sitting around like me. I swear to God, I done wiped, I done iced.
You need a cucumber slice.
I done leaned over to the side and pulled out the asthma pump.
I saw it. Then you do a nasal inhaler or something over there, just going through it.
Over here. You understand?
It's still here.
Yes, I'm going through it. I'm about to go to the store and get me some Zyrtec, Claritin, or crystal meth. I don't know.
Oh, shit. No, please don't go into the dark, Caroline.
I feel like a little bit of crystal meth will help solve
Don't
all
break
this.
bad. Don't break bad on them.
You know? Not the meth. Oh, damn it.
You're gonna come over and show like Kane and just no, I'm sorry. Let me not go with my word.
Some allergy eye drops. Yes, Lady Siren. I was doing some reading on here this morning. I saw that too. And it's crazy because like it's only one eye, like not this one. I don't understand why one eye is irritated like this and the other one is not. But then all my sinus issues are on this side of my face. So it's like all this together.
The tree bukkake.
I was gonna say, where's Nate? Because we need to make a thing about getting cooked.
I love a good
bullseye.
bukkake,
I don't think we're allowed to say it, but Nate would have.
Not tree sperm in the eye. Come on now. We love a good natural bukkake.
Oh God.
Yes. Don't let me go out and hug a tree.
Listen.
Oh Oh God. All right. Y'all have an amazing week, and we will see you next week. Bye.
So
You're gonna go out there, love Ashery.
yeah, they booty free. Hey, booty free.